All right. So this topic actually kind of got me really thinking, like what's actually really going on. Like we know participation rates drop through the lifespan of an individual. So they usually peak at about between 9 and 12, and they start to really decline quite heavily when they start to enter the junior part of secondary school, and especially the senior part of secondary school, where the focus no longer becomes about the academics, or not academics, the focus becomes about more academics and less about physical participation or physical activity or sport, and trying to at least have some level of routine and structure that they can carry through into their 20s and 30s. There's a 33% rise in children presenting to emergency rooms for self-harm, and this is Victoria only, and a large increase in the first time presenting to ER. So this was actually pulled out of an article from the ABC News of a mental health nurse. And it was quite interesting to say that she did mention that the social connectedness and physical fitness, or like a training facility where people can go, was actually one of the things that people use to help deal with or overcome mental health issues in the article itself. The decline before COVID. So we're talking specifically now about the physical activity of teens. Some of the main things that actually popped up is the 15 to 17-year-olds, less than 40 minutes of physical activity per day. That doesn't include active transport. So if they rode or walked to school or took public transport, that's not even included. So that actually is saying quite a lot, that there's a lot of issues in the potential barriers for kids to actually get physical activity. So whether it is school, that they're really limiting the ability for kids to be active during the day or something like that, whether it is they can't use the gym during lunch times or something like that to play sport, play basketball with their friends or something like that. It's not being facilitated in any way, unfortunately. And what kind of the guidelines suggested is 92% of all teens between 12 and 17-year-olds do not meet the Australian guidelines for physical activity of 60 minutes each day. They're just not meeting the guidelines at the end of the day. And this is going to be a potential issue, that if they can't even meet this during the day, then we know the potential health outcomes of that, because it's also associated with eating habits as well. So if someone's more physically active, then more than likely they're going to eat well, more likely they're going to sleep well, more likely to perform well in school, be a little bit sharper mentally, more likely to have better relationships with themselves and others. So we know there's a huge correlation of really trying to improve the amount and quality of physical activity, because it has such flow-on effects in other aspects or other areas of their lives. So the key findings of this is teens change the perception of what sport is for them. So as they get older, some see it as a stress relief, some see it as stressful. So the real interesting point for me this is, if teens see it as stressful as their sport, it seems like they want to transition to something else. That competition is no longer the thing that it drove them to keep going with. So what do we do first? We ask. And this is more on an individual level than anything else. So we need to ask the kid, are they still interested in sport? So this is a question for parents that need to ask. Is it too competitive? Is it not competitive enough? Is the enjoyment gone? Why is the enjoyment gone? Is the enjoyment still there? What do they enjoy about it? You need to ask these questions and find out what's really going on, especially with your kids, or if you're a coach, anyone that works with youth. You want to find out and specifically hone in what specifically do they enjoy about it. Is the social setting, they're seeing improvements in some regard, it's being measured, whatever it is, it needs to be shown. So how do we keep them active? So we need to start with the obvious, like I said before. This is basically the decline of physical activity. And this is for Victoria in 2018. So as you can see, at the age of 4, participation rates begin to pretty good, but usually there's 5 to 9 and 10 to 14 is where we see the biggest rate of participation. And then we see this massive decline between 15 to 19. So we need to understand what is causing this massive drop of 30% plus in participation in sports. Like for Metro, it's huge in the near future. Teens need more access to PTs and strength conditioning facilities specific to meet their needs, because they want to be active, learn new skills, spend more time with friends, improve their fitness, stress relief, and they want challenge without the competition between others. And I think government and organisations need to be more invested in actually creating a path of least resistance for kids and teens to be active. And this is the safest way. It has so many positive outcomes, and there's too much upside for this to be neglected.